Can't keep my hands to myself. Hands to myself. Can't keep my hands to.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So if I stop all of a sudden, I'm probably ending up having to cough because I'm just getting over like a cold. You know how it is when your voice, you can't really speak so much or else you're going to start coughing. That's what's going on right now. But anyways, I feel like, I don't know, I feel so awkward in front of the camera because it's been so long since I've recorded. And I've just been so busy student teaching. It's been crazy. And I'm probably going to make a story time about that one as well. But this is not a story time on student teaching, which I just finished today. And let me just tell you, if you are a teacher, I feel for you 100% because it is a lot of work, and a lot of people don't think it's a lot of work. They think it's really easy, but let me tell you, being a teacher is a lot of work. Like, it's a lot of work. Like, I didn't even expect it to be that much for some reason. Like, I knew it would be like a lot of work because, I mean, it is a job, but it's crazy what teachers go through. And because I was homeschooled, I didn't really know all of the ins and outs of, you know, teaching kids at a regular public school. But now that I see it, it's like, it's really eye-opening. But anyways, I literally rushed home because I was like, I have to make a video. I haven't made a video in so long. I have to get on here and speak to you guys. But anyways, today's video is going to be a story time video, and I'm going to be doing it on the snowstorm that happened about a week ago, I think it was. It happened around here. I'm in Delaware, so we were hit with a snowstorm, and we ended up getting about how many inches was it? I think it was like 12 or 13 inches. And my parents, they live in New Jersey, and I think they ended up getting like 24 inches. Well, it was a lot of snow. In fact, it's like 50 degrees outside, and I still see like piles of snow out there. So it was a crazy amount. But let me tell you, my blizzard, I don't even know what I'm going to call it. Probably like blizzard nightmare. I don't know. It was just crazy. So basically Friday was the day that the blizzard hit, and of course I was student teaching. My husband was off with the kids that day though because both of them were sick, so he decided to stay home and like take care of them. And yeah, so he was home with the kids. And from my house, you could actually see the school. Like if I'm looking out right now, I can't see it right now because one of the buildings is blocking it, but it's directly behind that building. So that's how close I am to my apartment. So I went student teaching, and I remember at around 12 o'clock, no, I'd say 11:40, my husband had texted me saying that he was playing with both of the kids, and what he likes to do is he'll toss them up in the air. And he had tossed Layla up in the air, and then Sean had came up and said he wanted to get tossed up in the air. So my husband started tossing Sean up in the air. But the problem was, once he had Sean up in the air, Layla had decided to wrap herself around his legs. And so he had started to trip, and he had already tossed Sean in the air. So him, Sean, and Layla ended up falling on the ground. Now, of course, Layla was fine because she was practically standing up anyway. My husband ended up, the way he had fallen, he had to let go of Sean in order to break Layla's fall. So basically Sean flatlined. He ended up falling face first to the ground, and he was very upset about that. And the problem with it is when he had fell, he had ended up biting his bottom lip. And so right here was a really bad, like, I guess you could say, like, how do they call it? Basically, it was bleeding all right here. And so my husband called to tell me that, and he had said Sean's lip is really big because it had it started to blow up. It was bleeding. He had stopped the bleeding because he had put ice on it and stuff, but Sean's lip was really big, and my husband just wanted me to know that. So at around lunchtime, all the teachers had decided to go out to eat because it was like a teacher development day, so there was no students at the school. So I decided to come back to the apartment and pick up my card because I didn't bring my card, and at the same time I wanted to check on Sean. So I came in, and the first thing I saw was my husband. He was looking at me like he knew that I was going to have a problem with what was going on. So I went into the room, and Sean was sitting on my bed, you know, watching cartoons and eating chips. Like, he was completely fine with his lip being a problem, but he still had a big lip, and he had his like ice on it still. So when I moved the ice, it was this really big lip, and I'm like, oh my goodness, this looks crazy. And he was just like, yeah, you know, I've kept ice on it, and that's just how it's looking right now. Because Sean was eating and everything, and he said he was fine, we had decided to just have me go back to finish working. So I went back, and around 3:30 I came back to the house. By then it had started to snow. Like at 3 o'clock it started to snow. My school had even said that everyone can go home around 2:30, but my teacher had still wanted me to just, I guess, help her with everything. So around 3:30, I ended up going to the car, and I was just like, boy, it's getting really bad out here for it to have only started like half an hour. So I rode back to the house, and it was only like half a block, and already I don't like driving, so I did not like driving in that snow at all, and it wasn't even long to drive, but it was still crazy, if that makes sense. So as soon as I got inside of the house, my husband was at the door, and he's like, yeah, we're gonna have to go. And I'm like, go where? And he's like, I'm gonna take Sean to get this checked out because this is crazy, and I need to go before the snow really starts. So I'm like, okay. So I get Sean dressed and everything, and he heads out with my husband. And 5 minutes later, or I won't even say 5, I'd say like 10 minutes later, my husband called me to tell me that he had left his wallet and his insurance card. So he had to drive back and get it. And he asked me if I wanted to go with him then, so I was just like, all right, fine, I'll go with you. So I got Layla dressed, we all got into the car, and by then the snow was really coming down. Like, I'm going to try to put a Snapchat, the video that I put up on Snapchat to show you guys how bad it was. But it was to the point like everyone was going like 5 miles an hour. There was no ice on the road. This isn't like New York and New Jersey where you're always going to see like snow plows and icers. Like, Delaware doesn't do that. I don't know why, but they never have their roads together for some reason. So in the car when we were driving, my husband was like, look, I don't want to take him to the hospital because I feel like we're going to be forever inside of the emergency room. So let's just take him to like this doctor clinic or whatever, not down the street, I'd say about 15 minutes away. So we started driving towards the like doctor clinic, and we made it about, we drove for about an hour. We made it about 5 miles away from the house. So it was ridiculous how like we were inching to the point like there were trucks and everything like going slow, and it was just so scary. So we drove back to the house because we're like, we're not going to make it there. And even we called them and they were like, yeah, we're just waiting for the okay, and we're going to close like any minute now because that's how bad it is outside. So we literally got like 5 miles, which is nowhere, and we turned back to come back to the house because that's how bad the roads were. So when we got off our exit, my husband was like, look, we can't just take him home. I want to make sure someone checks him out. He's like, I'm driving to the police station because the police station is not even a mile from our house. It's like a few blocks from our house. So we drove to the police station, and we pulled up next to this cop car, and my husband got out and started speaking to him about what was going on with Sean. So the cop opened the door and was looking at my son's lip and everything. And so he was like, okay, we're going to call an ambulance for you guys. So he called the ambulance, and the ambulance was there. It was actually really fast. They came in like 8 to 10 minutes, I'd say. And the ambulance guy got Sean out of the back of my husband's car.
How we doing? My name's Richie. I'm an EMT at the firehouse.
Put him inside of the ambulance. They were in there for a few minutes, and the guy was even like, yeah, it looks like he bit on his lip. They were like, but it looks like he might be healing from the inside already, but we're not sure exactly. So he's like, if you want, I can take you guys in the ambulance to the hospital, but I don't know if it's worth it. Like, that's what he was saying. Like, basically, it just could be a really bad cut, or it could need stitches, but he wasn't sure. So we decided, since he wasn't sure, we were still going to go to the hospital anyways. So me and Sean actually ended up riding inside of the ambulance, and my husband and Layla got into our car, and they were riding behind the ambulance. Now, it still took us, I'd say, about 20 minutes to get to the hospital, because even though the ambulance had 4-wheel drive or whatever, they were still driving super slow. But the guy inside of the ambulance was like really nice, and he was just telling me like just different people who lived in my apartment too. Like, he was telling me there was other people at the EMS place that lived there, and then he was asking me different things about Sean. And usually my son is really talkative, but he didn't really want to say too much. And so the guy was like, well, you know, if he doesn't really want to talk too much, that's fine. We're not going to force him to, but we just want to make sure that his jaw isn't broken. And he's like, from the way he's speaking though, and the way he was eating, you guys said, he doesn't think that it's broken at all. And then I also asked him like, how long would the wait be, just because it was like becoming a state of emergency in Delaware to the point where you weren't even supposed to be really on the roads. So he had told me that because we rode in the ambulance, and because Sean is only 4, that we would be seen like right away. So when we got in there, they took us to a little room, and they had the doctor come in and look at Sean, and he had basically told me that what had happened was when Sean fell, he ended up biting his lip like this, and so there was 2 bite marks that went right through. And so he said that he would need stitches, but he also was coughing. So the doctor was saying that he wanted to check, because when my son gets sick, he usually will have like a really bad cough. So the doctor had made him get x-rays done to see if he had pneumonia, but he didn't. And after that, he basically took two of the nurses and had Sean lay down, and he held him down, and he was like, we're going to do the stitches now. But he took it like a trooper. He did end up peeing on himself though, because he told them while they were in the middle of stitching that he had to go to the bathroom. And they were like, well, we can't really stop because there's a needle like hanging out of his mouth or whatever. And so they're like, we're hurrying, but it wasn't fast enough for my son. And he still ended up going to the bathroom on himself. So I felt so bad for him. And we had just brought in Layla and Sean's bags from the car, so they didn't even have an extra set of clothes. So they gave us the blanket from the hospital. So after all that happened, mind you, we were in there for probably 3 hours. By the time we had left, we had Sean wrapped in a blanket, and Layla was sleeping, and we put them in the car, and it was so bad. Like, it was horrible, to the point even the nurses were like, be super slow, because we've already had about 20 calls come in about accidents. And so I even told my husband, because it was a hotel right there, and the hospital is like, the hospital they ended up taking us to isn't that far away. So I told him, look, even if we have to stay at this hotel, I don't mind, because we're not going to be getting in an accident on the way home. That's how bad it was. And usually it'll take us like tops 10 minutes from here to that hospital, but it took us about, I'd say, an hour and a half to get home. That's how much we were going. Like, usually the highway is like 55 miles an hour on this highway, because it's one lane on either side, but it was like probably going like 5 to 10 miles an hour, and there was like a long line behind us. And my husband doesn't have four-wheel drive, so I was just like, look, if someone wants to go around you, they can, but don't feel like you have to speed up because someone wants to drive faster in the snow. Like, we're not getting an accident with these kids and Sean having no pants on. This is not happening. So we finally made it home. By the time we made it home, I'd say it was like midnight. It was really late. I ended up fixing the kids something to eat, because they hadn't even eaten. Like, we had figured we were going to be only a minute in there, but it ended up being like 5-6 hours. So Sean didn't even really want to eat. He went straight to bed, but Layla ate, and then we went to bed. So around 4 o'clock in the morning, we kept hearing like this clicking noise, and it turned out it was the thermostat in the apartment. It kept clicking on and off, and we were like, well, what's going on? It turned out all the lights and all the electricity and everything had turned off, and this is during the blizzard, 4 in the morning. It was going full force outside. They said it was like 70-mile-an-hour winds or something crazy like that. So basically it was clicking on and off so much that my husband was saying it's going to run up our bill. So because of the electricity going on and off, so we turned that off, and it was off for, I'd say, about till around 7. So it wasn't too long, but while it was off and you couldn't see everything, I had all the Bath and Body Works candles that I have like going everywhere. I didn't know how long it would take for the thermostat to come back on, so I turned on like as many candles as I could around the house to try to keep like it warm in here, but without burning the place down, of course. So that's basically what had happened. It finally turned on around 8 a.m. We ended up being stuck in the snow for about 2 days. I ended up not having school Monday, and this happened Friday. Ended up not having school Monday, and then on Tuesday there was still a snow day for the kids, but the teachers came in for like a professional development day again. So yeah, but it was so crazy. So that was my blizzard, I guess you could say, nightmare. We ended up going to have Sean get stitches. He was in the ambulance. I've never been in an ambulance ride either, so that was pretty cool to be in there, but I did feel bad for my son, but he loved it. He was so happy in there. He's like, I can't believe I'm riding in here. But overall, Sean's stitches now are okay. He did get them out, and you can't even see like the scarring and things like that. So yeah, it's definitely a lot better than what it looked before. And I'm so glad we took him to see the doctors, because they had said that he did bite all the way through, so he would have needed stitches. So I'm glad we were able to not wait until the storm got too bad to go out, because it did end up being where you weren't allowed to drive for like 2 days around here. But that's basically it. Also, let me know if you guys would be interested in me doing like a outfit of the week, like showing you guys what I wear for student teaching, kind of like professional attire, but let me know if that would be interesting for you guys at all, and I definitely will have a video like that up for you. But let me know below if you guys were hit by the blizzard as well, and if you lost any power or anything crazy like that. I'd love to hear about it. And also, I do have Snapchat now. If you guys follow me on Snapchat, I do snap. I try to snap once a day at least. So if you guys follow me there, definitely check it out. I will put the link below. But that's about it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!